Hola from Oaxaca, Mexico. Today is Friday, and each and every Friday I post a new video dedicated to the goddess, the feminine expression of God, and as an offering to my teacher, Dr. Pillai. Well, Fridays are ruled by the planet Venus. We know that. And did you know that Goddess Lakshmi, the goddess of wealth, rules over the planet Venus? And so today I just want to share the 16 aspects, probably more aspects of Lakshmi. So 16 blessings we can receive from Lakshmi. And I learned this from my teacher, Dr. Pillai, and from his teachers. I learned about the goddess Lakshmi, the goddess from India, the Hindu goddess of India. And she has gold coins that pour out of her hands. And she also has this other hand as a blessing. And there's so much more to her. But today I want to share the actual, I'm going to be looking over to the side to share the actual 16 blessings of Goddess Lakshmi. Now, before I do that, I want to share this. I found out that there's an aspect of Lakshmi that's fierce, like a serious, fierce goddess who destroys the demons of lack, because lack and limitation and scarcity and poverty, according to what my teacher is sharing, Dr. Pillai, are demons. And when we can identify them and see them as demons, this negative energy, then we can oh, there's scarcity happening in my life. That is a demon. How do we deal with that demon? Scarcity, lack, poverty, limitations. Those are some of those that show up around our financial affairs. So when I found out that Lakshmi also has a fierce side, that by chanting her mantras, the seed sounds, Shreem Brazi, those sounds actually destroy negative karma and attract and magnetize the positive money karma. So here are 16 wealth blessings from the goddess Lakshmi. So I'm looking over here, and so here's one. Lakshmi, the blessing of wealth, of endless fortune and prosperity. Wealth of endless fortune and prosperity. There's no limit. There's no limit to this goddess. There's no limit to wealth. And wealth, as I teach, is our divine birthright. And if we're not aligned with that universal law and the divine birthright of wealth, there's some things out of order, and it's up to us to align with that universal law, because the universe is wealthy, is abundant. Lakshmi blesses us with wealth of money and riches. Money and riches. It's amazing to me that today, as much as we have evolved in the spiritual community, that there's still an aversion to the words wealth, money, riches, abundance, affluence, luxury, luxuriousness. Everybody can be wealthy. We don't have to have a wealth and a poverty. And if we are against the wealthy, then we're against our own wealth, and we put a spell on our lives and the lives of others, because we are thinking and saying that it's better to be poor. Well, it's not better to be poor, but if you're coming against wealthy people, if people have riches, then there's a problem there. So you put a spell on your own life. Now, not everybody who's wealthy is having a good time. I mean, I've had multi-million-dollar clients who have had horrendous negative karma. Lakshmi blesses us with food and a healthy life. The wealth of food and a healthy life. The wealth of food that sustains our bodies and a healthy life so we can move forward in this lifetime on planet Earth to do what we're called to do, and to do it with joy and pleasure and delight and ease, so we can get those things done that we want to get done and experience the things we want to experience. Lakshmi blesses us with wealth of progeny, right? Our progeny, those who come after us in our bloodline. We want our progeny to also experience wealth, and the wealth of the nations, the wealth of the health, the wealth of money and riches, the wealth of endless prosperity and fortune. How about this? Lakshmi blesses us with wealth of power and authority and vehicles, being able to appropriately and divinely be transported with the rich substance of God. Vehicles and power and authority. There's nothing wrong with power and authority as long as we are in our sovereign power doing those things with authority that is benefiting everyone. Everyone. How about this one? Lakshmi blesses us with the wealth of valor and patience and objectivity. Valor, courage, and patience and objectivity. Because when we have valor and we have courage, we can take the stand that we are called to stand for. We can speak what we need to speak without backing down. And then having the patience with those that we support, those who are in our family, those that we teach, those who that just doing daily life, having the patience is a strong blessing, is a high virtue as well. And being objective, so we're not taking sides and clashing and causing disruption, because if a person doesn't believe how we believe, then they're wrong. Well, that causes a lot of tension. But if we can look at things objectively and we can see the middle, because there's always two sides of the same coin, right? There's always two sides of the same coin. And if we can see to both sides and take the middle road, then that's an objective position. And then we are not swayed by emotions by choosing one side over the other. This is very, very important. This is very important because we all have opinions about certain things. Maybe not everything, but certain things. And if the opinion is, if the opinion causes an opposite reaction that is hostile, then we are creating drama and trauma. And we don't want to do that. So let's stay objective. I'm learning that. Lakshmi blesses us with the wealth of victory and a focus on goals. Now, I didn't know this, right? The wealth of victory and the focus on goals. The energy of Lakshmi, the archetype of Lakshmi, the goddess Lakshmi, by chanting 𝗟𝗸𝗀 and making these beautiful offerings to the goddess of wealth and beauty and abundance, then we are much easier able to reach our goals. We can focus on our goals because it all starts in the consciousness, in our minds. And victory over what? victory over our own self, first of all, victory over those things that keep us in loops and patterns and habits that keep us from the actual wealth that we want or the goals we're seeking. Victory over habits. Whew. Goddess Lakshmi blesses us with wealth of education, knowledge, and talents. Education doesn't always mean that you went to college, right? Even though that is an honor and a privilege. I have several degrees. I have my bachelor's, I have my master's, I have my doctorate, I have a diploma for finishing Bible school. I mean, I have several certificates. That's a lot of education. I also have invested a lot of education in my spiritual development and the knowledge of things and talents. My talents, I have talents of the arts and dance and choreography, talent of teaching, the talent of creating, I have a whole list of talents, and I'm very blessed, and so do you. You have talents. These talents are just like coins in the Bible that talks about the 10 talents, the 10 coins that were very worthwhile. So your talents, it even talks about the talents and gifts make room for you. So Lakshmi can bless us with the wealth of education and knowledge and talents. And here's the other thing. All of that, the knowledge, the education, and talents opens doors for you to do what you're called to do here on planet Earth, and opens doors for others who are coming behind you or alongside of you. I love it when a door opens because then I can take my students through. I can take those who I'm mentoring through. I can take those who I'm coaching through. I love creating opportunities for people because when those doors open, they're not just open for me. When the doors open for you, they're not just open for you, right? So your education, knowledge, and talents will make room for you. And this is a blessing. This is a blessing from the goddess. Lakshmi, the goddess, will bless you with wealth of wisdom and intellect. Wisdom and intellect. So here's a question. Do you place, they're both equally profound. But if you had to choose between the two, would you choose wisdom or would you choose intellect? I have both. And right now, in this time and season in my life, I call myself the wisdom medicine woman because I have the wisdom of experience of ages. I have the wisdom that has come through some hard knocks, and then I learned, and now I have that wisdom. I have the wisdom of how life works, the universal laws. Now, not everybody needs to have hard knocks to gain wisdom. That's why when you have a wisdom medicine woman or a wisdom man or someone who has the wisdom, and wisdom doesn't always mean that you have to be, an elderly person with a gray beard, even though there's a lot of wisdom that comes from the elders. The wisdom can come from a child. The wisdom can come from nature. And when you have the wisdom and the intellect, that's a blessing. How about this one? The blessing of Lakshmi's wealth of all around prosperity. All around prosperity. Being prosperous in your job, being prosperous in your home, being prosperous with everything you put your hands to prospers. Everything you do prospers. There's a multiplication. It's like tossing something into the waves of a lake, and then those waves come back to you, right? So there's the all-around prosperity, the prosperity that comes with just good health. There's a lot of prosperity around, so we want to be available to receive the all-around prosperity. Lakshmi blesses us with the wealth of good name and fame. Now, let me tell you this. A good name, a good reputation is huge, huge. All it takes is one person to speak kindly of you and good about you, and then that goes around, right? That goes around and people hear that you have a good reputation, that you have a good name. And on the other side, someone can say something negative about you, and it may not even be true, because I've had that happen to me. It may not even be true. It may be a gossip, it may be a lie, it may be a slander. And then that goes around. But the people who know you, the people who know who you are and that your heart is sincere and well-meaning and you're doing the best you can in integrity, they won't believe all those lies. They won't believe the slander. They won't believe it because you have a good name and you have the wealth of fame. Who wants to be famous? I personally have not wanted that, even though I am in the field of the performing arts. I was called to dance since I came out of my mother's womb. I always like to say that I came out of my mother's Puerto Rican womb dancing. I was called to dance. I came into the lifetime with the arts and the dance and the choreography and performance, and that's out in front. That's out in front. But I never, when I studied, because I have degrees in the arts and performing arts and fine arts and expressive arts and you name it, all the arts, I never studied it to become famous. But fame, there's nothing wrong with fame if it is tempered and you have a good name, right? If you have a good name, then the fame gives you a greater voice, greater influence for the better, for the higher, to bless others. Isn't Lakshmi good? Lakshmi can bless us with wealth of sound health, devoid of diseases. Devoid of diseases. We talked about health, and I'll tell you one thing. I have been so blessed with good health. I was a sickly child. I was really, really sick with asthma and skin problems and always having to be rushed to the emergency room because I couldn't breathe. And then as I became more sovereign over my own health after I left my home, went on to live my life as a young adult, I took sovereignty over my own food intake and what I was eating, what I was drinking, and I became very, very healthy. And because I'm a dancer, then I became even healthier. And because of what I put into my consciousness, into my mind, how I think, how I behave, I have chosen this very healthy life. So that now in my more mature season of life, I actually have very, very, very good health. And I also believe in the reversal of aging. People age, right? I call it maturing, but I believe in reversal. I believe that we can actually go into our light body. It's in my mind to do all I can to experience the light body and to take in solar energy so we can get healthier and healthier and healthier and healthier. So right now I'm in good health, and I'm getting healthier and healthier and healthier and healthier and stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger. When people who are mature like me, they are declining. Their health is declining. They could barely move. They could see the stress. You can see the life force just draining out of their body. So Lakshmi can bless us with the wealth of sound health, devoid of diseases. I have no diseases. None. The only time I've been to see a doctor recently is because of a dance injury, an old dance injury that flared up. And so what did I do? Well, the prescription was to take all this medication and do this and that. And I read somewhere that anti-inflammatory slows down the healing process. And my teacher, Dr. Pillai, through one of the teachers that I personally do consultation with, the prescription was to rest. And so I rested. I rested for 3 months. The prescription was to rest, like literally don't go anywhere. Don't walk anywhere, don't go anywhere. Call your assistant to go shopping for you. Call people to help you, because I have an assistant. And rest. I just laid in bed and rest. And that healed. Everything's nice and strong and healthy. And so that is also the blessing of Lakshmi. Now, Lakshmi, Siddha Lakshmi, blesses us with the wealth of Siddha powers and grants you anything you pray for. Anything you pray for. Now, for me, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about Siddha and Siddha powers. But before that, I want to say to you that this is something that I am consistent with, working on, focusing on all these Siddha powers and being granted anything I pray for. Some of the things I pray for, I receive. Some of the things I pray for, I receive very quickly. Some of the things I pray for, it takes a little bit of time. And that's another thing, mastering time. Some of the things I pray for, it seems like it's not arrive or coming, but I know it is. I know it is. So Siddha powers are powers like the Siddhas. The Siddhas are, I consider them to be avatars. I consider them different levels of avatars, and I consider them to be men and women who have been gifted these supernatural powers and abilities. For instance, we've heard of the yogis and the siddhas who can create gold, right out from their hands. They can create gold. So Siddha powers could be the power to help heal people, like instantaneously. Siddha powers can be manipulating the elements. There are different Siddha powers. I personally am asking for the grace for the Siddha powers. Some of them have to do with the multiplication of money in my hands, which has happened to me a couple of times. Lakshmi blesses us with the wealth of enchanting beauty. Oh my gosh. When I see there's one particular, actually there's two master teachers in the Pillai Center who their skin is radiant. They are absolutely beautiful. And I mean, literally, I look at their faces and their skin and their demeanor, and they are absolutely beautiful, and this beautiful, sincere, innocent beauty and grace. So Lakshmi can bless us with the wealth of enchanting beauty. Enchanting, that the beauty enchants. There's nothing wrong with enchanting as long as it's with pure intentions, enchanting energy. Lakshmi will bless us with the wealth of position and salvation. Position. Where are we positioned in society? What is our position when we are in groups or amongst people? And when are we positioned within groups? Are we positioned within favorable groups, positioned in favorable classes? So positioning is another blessing. And the wealth of auspiciousness. Auspicious. That time, it's like that perfect timing. So I thank you so much for listening, for watching. I encourage you to chant 𝗕𝗫𝗄𝗃 and continue to engage with and study and enjoy and become familiar with the goddess Lakshmi and all her blessings, and to become familiar with the teachings of Dr. Pillai. I have the information on Dr. Pillai in the description, so you can find out more about him and his teachings there. And I also want to encourage you to comment. Please comment. I really want to know how this information, these teachings are coming across, how you're applying them, what are the results. I also encourage you to put a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, share. Let's get this channel like really lively. And one more thing, if you would consider signing up for my newsletter at ayanamohika.com, I'll have that in the description as well. That's the community that I really cultivate with more personal things. I'm usually sharing things almost every day in that community that has to do with spirituality, has to do with what's going on in the world on the positive side, which has to do with the arts. It's where I am most apt to communicate immediately. And of course, the YouTube community is very beautiful. And I want to say thank you so much for watching. I'm very committed to 52 videos for every Friday. And I thank you. I bless you with Lakshmi's blessings. I bless you with 𝗕𝗵𝗀𝗀𝘃. I bless you with wealth rising. I bless you and your family. I bless you. I bless you. I bless you. And so it is, so it is, and so it is.